Okay, well, I can only say that this is really a great joy and excitement to be with you today and to welcome all these new faces from east, west, north, and south. It's really super to be together and to, especially at this time when there's such rising pressure on finding the right sort of solutions for the rising numbers of older people like ourselves. So we plumb in the middle of these events, and it's very exciting to see the developments that are going on around the world. But firstly, just a few words, just a few short words about the Pass It On Network, because there's several people here who don't know anything about it. So Dr. Jan Hively and I, Jan, please just wave to everybody. There we go. We started this network about 10 years ago, and we were inspired by the words of a Hopi Indian leader. And this Hopi Indian leader wrote a poem which was really beautiful. And he talked about the fact that things were changing so fast and that the 11th hour was right now. And I can't go into the whole detail, but you can find the poem on our website. I'll just read the last lines, a couple of last lines. He said, "At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For when we do, our spiritual growth and journey come to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves, banish the word struggle from your vocabulary and from your attitude. All that we do now must be done in sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones we have been waiting for." And it was that last line that really just got Jan and myself going. We are the ones we have been waiting for. And indeed, we are the ones. We cannot rely on other people to do it for us. Could I just ask everyone to mute themselves? I don't like competition. So just very quickly, hello. Okay. The Pass It On Network is a global network of positive aging pioneers advocating for older people's rights and for the adaptation of society to the challenges of longevity and the opportunities of longevity. We have 2 regional networks, one in Southern Africa and one in Canada, and we love working with interns. Over the past couple of years, we've welcomed 6 different interns, and I was really hoping to be able to introduce you to a new intern who is starting at the beginning of April, but I think he might be hampered by, as I mentioned earlier, the electrical outages in the Southern African region of the world at the moment. Today, we have liaisons in 65 countries around the world. We run these monthly 50-50 conversations, publish a Pioneers Gazette, and are actively involved in advocating for rights through GAROP and the United Nations Open-Ended Working Group. And I might just mention that there will be a small delegation from the Pass It On Network going to New York at the beginning of September. These international exchanges are something that's, it's our fuel, it's our energy. You know, when Jan and I started, this was the
Mara, I'm going to interrupt you. It's the beginning of April. You're going in April.
Oh, where am I going in April?
To the New York delegation to New York.
What did I say in beginning
You
of
said September.
Oh, sorry. It's okay. Beginning. Thank you.
Because people may want to join you.
Okay, the beginning of April. So now I don't know where I was. I was just saying that Jan and I were so inspired by the fact that, number one, we felt that we were the ones that we had to do something about this. And then we started making these contacts. I'm from South Africa, so we brought in Linda Smith from South Africa, and then I met Hans from Iceland, and so it went. And then I met Tom, who was working in India at that time, and not back yet in Oxford. And that's just how it went. And then I met Cullen, and I'm not too sure how I met Cullen, but Cullen told me that there was going to be an ACAP conference in Fukuoka, and he said, "Why don't you come?" Fukuoka, wow, never heard of it. Looked it up on the atlas, saw where it was, and I went in March. It was actually 7 years ago now. I went to Fukuoka, And I was absolutely delighted to be welcomed into the ACAP family, which I can assure you is a most special organization, built on friendship and built on mutual trust. Really the most exciting thing that happened to me. And from then we expanded our network and we expanded our contacts. And all the time we've been learning from each other and seeing how things are going. And as we all know, Asia Pacific is is, I think, the region in the world where the aging population is growing at the fastest rate. So we've been thinking about this now. How can we get this message across? Because through ACAP, they are really the most extraordinary people, and now Kathryn will be going into that. But how can we get their work more internationally known, and how can we show people more what's going on in the world? So we got together and we decided that we would love to make this more available to people. And we found a company in France that's called Dialogue Health that's specialized in the logistical side of putting these tours together. And so we've come up with a very exciting proposition. And this is, we'll be able to tell you more about it. So we've got with us Kathryn, who's the president of ACAP. Hello, Kathryn. And Cullen. Oh, I've lost you. I suddenly lost you. I don't know what happened. I was suddenly in Teams. Gee whiz, because that was a very scary moment. And we've got Cullen with us, and both of them are going to be talking about their wide experience in Asia. So we're going to start with Cullen. And Cullen, as everybody who's at Pass It On Network knows a lot about Cullen, and we've put the CVs of both Cullen and Kathryn in the chat. But just a few words about Cullen before he starts. He has 45 years of experience developing over 50 elder care projects in various healthcare, community, and academic settings, and both in Hawaii, nationally, and in East Asia. And he advocates for an active aging approach to elder care. So Cullen, without further ado, let me pass over to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Moira. All right. Given time considerations, let me see if I can share this slide with you. Can you see this?
Yep,
okay.
We can.
All right. Okay. So this is what we'll be talking about in just a few minutes. I got just a few minutes to share some broad perspective with regards to why we are proposing, or we have proposed, this study tour to East Asia, Singapore, and Korea. So I'm entitling this section, Active Aging in Asia, Creating a Social Movement. So basically, by way of just a broad introduction or explanation with regards to the Active Aging Consortium Asia Pacific, it started around 2002, right after the Madrid Conference on Aging by WHO, when the definition of active aging was first proposed by the United Nations. And Dr. Takeo Ogawa of Fukuoka, Japan, had attended that particular meeting, came back quite excited, and started going around various parts of East Asia, trying to encourage people to start this consortium to promote this active aging perspective. And so this whole focus, of course, is to shift from sick care to well care. And as we all know, gerontology has tended to focus around sick care, long-term care, frailty, all well and good. But of course, this does not take advantage of the vast power and potential of older adults after retirement. People who have skills and experiences and are well-connected, many are financially stable, and have a lot of time on their hands, but are uncertain how to use their 20 to 30 years that still remain. So what we wanted to do, and what ACAP wanted to do, was to look at a way of creating a new culture of health, engagement, and of ways of being continuously contributors to their various communities. We wanted people to shift from just thinking about retiring to rewiring, from just feeling needed to being needed by their community, from focusing on just being useful, youthful to being useful. And so as a result, right now we have Dr. Kathryn Braun, who is in the leadership position, and there's so many conferences that we have participated in or have sponsored over time, and we have an expansive membership in excess of 500 people right now. Now the question, however, is how do we create this culture change? When we look at the 21st century, what the United Nations had said was that there are three major trends that we should be aware of, and which we are pretty much aware of. One is terrorism and security. The second has to do with climate change and resource management. And the third is active aging, is population aging. So population aging is right up there with all of these other challenges that we are going to be challenged with over the next 800 years during this period of the 21st century. So related to population aging, the flip side of this is depopulation. And depopulation, with population aging and low birth rates, we've got population aging occurring in various parts of the world, and there are many factors that are associated with it. It's like the aging of the population, low birth rates and low immigration, high emigration, war and high death rates, and so on. And in this particular graph, you can see certain areas of the world where depopulation is occurring relatively quickly. In Europe, in Russia, China is beginning to experience this. Greenland and Japan, Korea is also experiencing this, and they'll be experiencing this rate of depopulation relatively quickly over time. So this is something that is of great concern. Somebody had once told me, well, depopulation is good. We've got so many people that perhaps by having less people around, this may result in perhaps slowing down of the depletion of natural resources. Well, this is well and good, of course, but if this occurs in varying rates between countries, this has enormous implications in terms of economic development, in terms of migration patterns, as people find that they do not have enough to eat, or they've got certain problems, they begin to have mass movements, and this can create other sorts of issues as well. So this is something that we need to consider. What I wanted to share with you quickly was this graph with regards to Japan's population change that is occurring over time. And as you can see, this goes back to the year 1400, when there were 8 million Japanese in Japan at that time, and it went up to 12 million. And by the year 2000, it went up to 127.8 million. And since 2000, it's been in this period of phase of precipitous decline, such that by the year 2100, there may be as little as 37 or 38 million people, maybe 60-something million, 65 million people that might remain. But the point is that it is quite clear to the Japanese government that the numbers are on a decline, and they are looking at this very seriously. This is another graph showing the same sort of thing, but this one goes up to the year 3300, at which point there won't be anybody left. Okay, so this is not just hearsay. This is based upon demographics, and this is information that we can find and project with other countries as well. So what are some strategies that have been considered with regards to how do we alter this depopulation trend? There's been a lot of talks with regards to the role of technology, Foreign workers is a great way to do this very quickly, but it has all sorts of political ramification oftentimes. Birth rate is good, but it takes 20 years for a child or an infant to become a tax-paying and productive member of society. Increasing retirement age is also a possibility, but in France and in Greece and Italy, we've seen some pushbacks from older adults and so on. So there's many different factors that we can consider, of which active aging is just one of them. Okay, now, so these are consideration. This is the part of the reason why we wanted to look at active aging, because perhaps active aging has less of a negative pushback at this initially. It may not be sufficient, but it'll be important to consider. So when we look at active aging, question is, what is active aging? And there are many people that have referred to it in terms of physical fitness or in terms of health. People have talked about the importance of money and financial fitness. Others have talked about the importance of social connectedness, that if you are lonely and you're not well connected, this can have some consequences in terms of life expectancy. But what we're trying to suggest with regards to this particular graph is that active aging is multifaceted. It includes physical fitness and medical fitness and nutritional fitness, financial fitness, consumer protection fitness, and so on, including fourth age planning, knowing that life is finite and that we will pass on, and that perhaps there are things that we can do to prepare accordingly. And then there's the importance of purpose. What is interesting is that what we need to look at then is going back to the question, how do we create this cultural change? Part of it is personal responsibility, focusing on health and finance and social connectedness. Some people are great at doing that, and they, upon retirement, they know exactly what to do and they move forward. And others are perhaps less able to make that particular change, and they struggle. And so this is why we think that it's important to consider ways in which we can work with social infrastructure, make some of the changes in social infrastructure to make it as seamless as possible, as easy as possible for people to find that changing their lifestyles will have some positive effect, both for themselves as well as for the society as a whole. So what we wanted to do was to look at ways of learning from places that have been able to or are working at this particular attempt at creating social infrastructural change. So we wanted to look at two countries that are attempting to do this, Singapore and Korea. And so what we wanted to do was to suggest that we encourage people like yourself, encourage political leaders, financial leaders, people who are part of maybe foundations, perhaps programmatic leaders, and people that have the ability to encourage others to learn, to engage, to network, and to lead. And this is the part of the reason why we wanted to do this. So that's it for now. Thank you very much. So I think we can have Kathryn to share her slides at this point, or Osnet.
Yeah, thank you, Cullen. We're moving the baton to Kathryn. So Cullen, if you can unshare.
Okay, wait now. How do I do that?
It's on the upper part of your screen. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, super. Well, that was great, Cullen, and you're right. I mean, Asia is sort of leading the effort in depopulation, but also leading the effort in active aging. And so Cullen and I are really excited about this trip. And today I was going to tell you a little bit more about Singapore and maybe in a future meeting about Korea. So this tour is co-sponsored by Pass It On Network and ACAP, as Cullen said. And but this glimpse of Singapore. Now, Singapore, if you have not been there or don't know much about it, is like teeny. It's very teeny. It's the size of the city of Hamburg. And it has 5.6 million people. For those in the US, it's about a fifth of the size of Rhode Island. So it's very, very small, but has lots of people and centralized planning that has helped it to become one of the leaders in planning for aging. When I first went to Singapore in the 70s, this is what it looked like. There were some buildings, certainly it was more advanced than Manila, but you could still see that there's little neighborhoods and boats right in the middle of the city and so forth. And the Merlion, which is down here in the lower right-hand corner on my screen, was out in the open with little boats going by it. But nowadays, this is what Singapore looks like. It's quite fancy, quite expensive. And the Merlion, which has been moved to a new location, but is surrounded by just all these buildings and lights and bridges. And, you know, it's just a huge transformation in 50 years. And it will continue to transform. So Singapore among the Southeast Asian countries is going to experience rapid aging. And by 2050, almost 35% of the population will be over 65. I mean, it's not a unique case because you can see here all the countries will double in the proportion of elders between 2020 and 2050. So everyone's going to double, but Singapore will have a lot, almost 35%, similar to Japan and Korea, which are closer to 40%. So Singapore, as I said, has central planning. I mean, it's a small place. So they just have one Ministry of Health and one Ministry of Housing and so forth. But the ministry, there is a ministerial committee on aging that brings together representatives from all the ministers and develops these action plans for success. And they just issued a new one last month, which is called I Feel Young in My Singapore. So I Feel Young Singapore. But it focuses on community initiatives to empower Singaporeans to take charge of their own aging journeys. And it is anchored in 3 C's to help them live life to the fullest. I'm going to go over briefly the 3 C's. Now, if you look at the report online, it is massive, and under each one of these bullets here, there's 5 or 6 different programs. But the Live Well, Age Well program is based on a map of your health, and you take charge. When do you need to get these screenings? How much vegetables do you need? How many vegetables do you need? How much exercise do you need? Are you doing it? And so forth. But it also has, under supporting dementia, it has case managers that go out and identify people in early stages of cognitive decline and institute interventions and link them to services. Also very much of a push into pre-planning and preparing for end of life. So for years in Asia, especially in Chinese culture and Japanese too, you don't really talk about death. You just don't. And so this is a big push now to plan and prepare for end of life. I mean, we don't talk about it much in the United States either, but it is a new thing that Singapore now is looking at. The second C is contribution. And there are a number of efforts to increase the retirement age. Some would be to work with even unions, some trade unions who have rules about retirement to try to get them to raise retirement, but also providing incentives to employers to retain older adults and so forth. And then, of course, supporting retiring seniors in volunteering and lifelong learning, of course, is another big effort. And then connectedness. So in this area, the government is committed to expanding senior-friendly parks and gardens, to creating an environment in which people feel that they can move around with peace of mind, so safe, good street lights that are timed so that seniors can cross, people that have disabilities can cross the street safely, safe transportation, strengthening intergenerational bonds, and equipping seniors with technology, even to the point where if you're a low-income senior, you're going to get a free or subsidized cell phone, smartphone, and lessons on how to use it to link to services and keep connected with other people. So this is a government plan backed by billions of Singaporean dollars and the budget just passed, we learned on our call Saturday. The budget just passed and a lot of money is going towards actualizing this plan. Now, one of the cool things that is happening is in a district called Queenstown, and I've given you a little map. It was chosen, this district, so Singapore has many districts, but this district was chosen for redevelopment in a collaborative manner with the University, National University of Singapore and the National University Hospital. And it was chosen because it already reflects the demographics of the entire country. 1 in 4 people are 65 plus, and 80% live in what they call Housing Development Board flats, which we would call in the United States public housing. So can you imagine a whole country, 80% of the people in the whole country live in public housing? And Singapore did this because it realized that people that were homeowners are going to take better care of their homes, better care of their environments. They're going to have more pride. And they have made home ownership like almost mandatory among the citizens. And so it's impossible not to be able to afford someplace to live. So 80% live in Housing Development Board flats. So now this section is under development and rejuvenation, and the plans include the drive to create homes and environment that contribute to health and well-being for all ages. And so I'm going to show you some of the initiatives that are taking place here in the health district. And I want you to know, I took out this slide, but they have tons of partners. So NGOs are partnering with them as well. So as they go through, they have several what they call work streams. So I'm only featuring 3 of their 8 work streams, but the work stream in preventive health care, like I said, the MyMap self-monitoring, the community care team that assesses everyone, every elder, and links them to services as needed or information and does monitoring. Care at home, a big effort to minimize hospitalization. There is another effort to intervene in early childhood because, you know, if you're not healthy in early childhood, you're not going to be healthy in middle age and you're not going to be a healthy elder. So intervening all along the life course to make sure that children grow into healthy adults and healthy elders. And then a special effort to look at sleep and exercise over the life course, as those are important. And this is this group, this work stream has already been to the UK to do a site visit at Bromley. I don't know where Bromley by boat is, but maybe someone from the UK does. And they are looking at communities that do allow all of these things in a single space. Health and well-being with a health center, a connection, a cafe, creative arts, employment, social care, and so forth. So they're looking at models like this for Singapore. Another stream is purposeful longevity. And here they're really drawing from the Ibasho Hub project in Japan. So Ibasho is Japanese for a place where you can feel like yourself and a place where you are needed, not needy. It calls on elder engagement and development. And to do this, then everything that is being done in Queenstown involves groups of elders who give input through surveys, through focus groups, through volunteering, through joining a course that they have called Designing for the 100-Year Life, and making meaningful work. It is based also, one of the principles is non-institutional care and tri-generational monitoring. So university students in Singapore, at the National University of Singapore, are linkages between young kids and elders to try to facilitate more intergenerational activities. So governed by elders is the key to Ibasho. And then another work stream is called planning and design, and they're working with residents to co-design spaces and build environments within all of these public housing developments, so that they will include things like 3-generational playgrounds, dementia-friendly environments, including good signage, therapeutic gardens, wellness landscapes, and well-being focal points. So you can see in this picture a pedestrian mall, and it's easy to navigate both for wheelchairs and strollers, and it has seats and it has trees, and services and shops can be co-located here, and health services can be co-located. So this is kind of the plan where everything you need is within 15 minutes of you. So it's crowded, it's dense, but here are some of the things that they are envisioning. So every housing complex will have a heritage walk. Every one will have a garden. So the heritage walk and garden will have exercise equipment for 3 generations, playground, but also those fitness machines that they have in Asia where you can go for free and get a little workout. They're going to have health exchanges in the parking lot, so you don't have to walk far. So I think that's very creative. I can't wait to see that. And then they're going to have therapeutic gardens. So here are some therapeutic gardens. So these have circular paths for dementia, places to sit, places to play, and places to plant. So that is the vision for that. Dementia-friendly signage. Here are some examples of how the redevelopment will make sure people can find things and not get lost. The buildings and signage can become color-coded, and also with pictures. So communal living room has some pictures there. Some text, graphics, and symbols to facilitate wayfinding. And now it's crowded, remember, but look, right in the middle, they've come up with a circular jogging track at the rooftop above a multi-story car park. And here you can exercise, you can jog, you can stroll, you can sit, you can watch. It's right in the middle of everything, but it's green. Here's also an attractive staircase, and you see down here a little Tai Chi class as well. And some springs, some sounds of water. So trying their best to make a crowded environment a friendly, green, healthy environment. One of the things that I wanted to show you was Dr. Lang Fang, we call her Dr. Lang, and she's with the National University of Singapore. She's a professor there. She's an expert in Japanese studies, so she goes back and forth and was really the linkage with Ibasho to Singapore. And she's very much engaged in this health district in Queenstown. And she's one of our guides for this tour that's coming up. So here is more information. We really hope that you or someone you know, if you can refer others, to join us to really learn more about aging in Singapore and some of the things that they're doing. And then, of course, after 5 days there, going up to South Korea. So I have one last slide that has the QR code really big. So if you need to snap it with your phone, you can do it right now. And it'll take you right to the page where you can get more information and look at the program and so forth. But we're very excited about it, and we hope you are too. So thank you so much for having us, and we hope there's a dialogue now.
Wow. Wow is what I can say. Thank you, Kathryn and Cullen. It definitely makes me want to join the trip. We will, just so you know, we will send highlights to all the participants today. We'll send highlights in the next couple of days as soon as we finish writing them. There'll be the copies of the slides that Kathryn and Cullen presented. And we're also going to have in a separate file this brochure that you saw in the last slide with the QR code. So you can send it to all the people that you know, everybody who wants to join. It's really a wonderful opportunity. But you know, this is now let's take just a few minutes here to see if there are any questions to Kathryn and Cullen about what they just presented, and then maybe I'll have a question for you also. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand with the, if you look at the reaction button there at the bottom of your Zoom screen, one of these say raise hand. There are so many of us today, I can't really see the entire screen. So there's Mary Jo. Go ahead, Mary Jo.
Thank you, and thank you so much for your presentation, Kathryn. I found it really inspirational. The question I have is there any evidence of this within Singapore ever been planned and funded and accomplished on any scale?
You know, they've been looking at aging for quite a while, but this is this Queenstown redevelopment is very is a big national effort. But yes, they have. When Cullen and I visited several years ago, we went to some public housing areas where they showed us how they were co-locating services down in the first level. So they had rec rooms, they had daycare, they had dementia assessment, and so forth. So I don't think that Queenstown is so unusual in concept, but on the scale, it is unusual. And someone asked also in the chat about the other work groups. So the other work groups, all the work groups, there's only 6, and I'll put them in the chat, but the other 3 are harnessing technology, evaluation, and communications and engagement.
Any other questions? Any other people who want to say questions or insights? Yeah, go ahead, Gabrielle.
Yeah, I cannot miss out the opportunity to thank Kathryn, Cullen, Maura, PION-ACAP for this partnership. We are also very, very excited to work with you and Dialogue Health. We're constantly designing and organizing tours, but it is completely different when we have the co-sponsorship of such active, innovative networks as yourself and knowledgeable, of course. So just hoping that everything goes well with the group forming. Let me tell you, like extra news, we had registration just today, so I'm pretty sure it will be a first very successful tour this one of September. So thank you again. Thank you for this presentation.
Gabrielle, I just want to say that to add to what you're saying, we're going to send you to the brochure. Even if you cannot go, send it to people you know who have influence, who want to learn, who want to take this into the world. This is what Passeton Network is about, is to connect the people who need to know and need to do, who want to do all that stuff. And before we go to Bala and Cullen, I want to ask Tom McCormick to if you can say what you said in chat.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Very rich. Just a side question, did you say the PowerPoints would be available?
Yes, we're going to send a follow-up note with highlights, with all kinds of comments and insights, and we'll attach the PDFs of the PowerPoints. I was going to do it today, but Cullen made some important changes to his, so I'm not going to attach it today. So you just watch your email in the next couple of days.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Cullen, I was looking at the slide, what is active aging? And you have quite a few dimensions. And I don't see spirituality or religion specifically mentioned. Might you comment?
I guess I encompassed spirituality and religion under the heading of purpose, and maybe that's inappropriate. But with purpose, the question comes up with regards to we ask people to do a life review. We ask people to identify some of their ups and downs in terms of what they have accomplished and what some of their skill sets are, and what are some of their things that they'd like to be able to say they'd be able to leave as a legacy. And these are spiritual issues. So, issues with, values having to do with family, whether or not it's present, immediate, or future family, or gratitude to the past families, questions with regards to sacrifice, with regards to love, and so they're broad questions with regards to finding meaning and value with regards to what it is that you want to do with the rest of your life, that I think are spiritual questions that we wanted to incorporate this issue with regards to spirituality and religion. And there may be other ways in which we could deal with this, but that's the way we've done it with regards to this particular slide. And understand, of course, that what I have there as far as 11 facets, that's just a draft, and that's there are many other ways of redoing this. So certainly religion and spirituality, more specifically, can be incorporated as well.
Hello. Hello.
I'm going
May
to
I?
pass the note to Bella.
May I? Kathryn, may I speak?
Who is speaking right now?
Yeah, this is Bala from India.
Okay, yeah, Bella, go ahead.
Yeah, regarding this active aging, it's a wonderful talk we had today, especially Kathryn, what you have given in so nicely formative place. It's wonderful, and I'll be thankful if you could send the whole thing, whole paper to us through the mail, that it is wonderful points you have got. And what I feel is active aging, it's not from somebody else they have to. Everyone should feel that they should be active. Unless otherwise they make up their mind and see that even whether it is in diet or in health activities or in sports or whatever it is, they have to decide what they want to do for a better aging and active aging. And if they follow that, then there won't be any problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Uyanga?
Thank you so much for the information session today. Really appreciate your talk, and for those who are making this opportunity possible. So I am attending, representing a small group of people in Mongolia who are trying to do active aging. And I just have this slides, and the information you provided was really, really interesting. Thank you so much. And just wanted to ask again, I saw the pricing briefly, and it is, for Western or developed countries, this is really reasonable pricing. And for developing countries, I just wondered if there was any special pricing, or for those people who don't speak English, let's say, is there any accommodation or something we could work out so that people from Mongolia who may not know either Korean or English could help or still participate?
I don't have the answer. That maybe it's a conversation. Maybe you want to reach out to Helen, Gabrielle, Kathryn, and Moira, and speak about it offline, unless there's a comment that any of you can provide right now.
I think
Yeah, unfortunately, the cost is high, and we realize that this is not something that everyone can easily attend, and we hope, however, that provided sufficient time, those that certainly want to and have the capacity perhaps to help to create change might be able to approach maybe a foundation or some other organization to help to undergo or cover some of this cost. Yeah. So this is something that is beyond our control in that respect. The language issue right now it is in English, and in Korea there will be a Korean interpreter, but yeah, there's certainly some limitations there as well. So I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you.
Gabriel,
I can just compliment regarding interpretation. So actually, in the logistics parts, we can add interpreters, but this represents additional costs. So both questions, they don't go together actually. So yeah, usually if we have 3-5 people from a specific language that would like to add, we already have hosted, for instance, a tour where we had a group with 3 languages at the same time. So 3 interpreters, each one at their side, but this usually will represent additional cost.
Great. Thank you so much.
I'm just hoping that after that tour, there'll be a book or a series of lectures or something like this by the people who were part of it, and then we'll all learn in a different way. So I'd like to pass it to Joanna.
Thank you. I'm afraid I joined the meeting late, and so I'm wondering, where is Queenstown? And also, what is the cost of the tour?
Queenstown is a district of Singapore that is under a special redevelopment and rejuvenation scheme that is a partnership between the Singapore Housing Ministry, and 80% of people in Singapore live in public housing, and the university. But it also is a partnership. In the partnership are all of these nonprofits and groups, consultants from Japan and England and so forth. So they have a lot of input into trying to create a fabulous environment there. And I think the cost, you want not the cost of moving there, I think you want the cost of the tour.
Yes, that's correct.
I will let
I just want to add, Joanna, we are going to send in the next couple of days all the information that was presented today, plus links to the details of the tour, and you could probably find that information and more in that page.
Okay.
Okay.
And would Mary Jo Shipsky be interested in joining me?
Well, where is she?
She's
here. She was here with us.
Thank you, Joanna. I'll get in touch.
Okay. Good.
So, we always say it's going to be an hour, but it's actually going to be an hour and 15 minutes, just because there's so much to say. And Richard pass it on to you, and then we'll see how we take it from there.
Thank you. Thank you. Tour sounds wonderful. And I really was not aware of how much is going on in Singapore. I was particularly interested in the inclusion of the Ibasho concept. And I'm wondering if Emi Kyoto, who is the founder of that movement, will be involved with the tour at all. I believe she is in Singapore now. And just wanted to hear a little more about how the concept of Ibasho fits into this larger context. Is the idea to develop multiple Ibasho centers, or how is that being implemented?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I can answer the first part. Yes, Emmy does have an appointment now at the University of Singapore, National University of Singapore, and she is engaged in this. So I can send you, if you're interested, the newsletter from the Queenstown Health District at Queenstown that focuses on that, and you'll see her picture and her new appointment stuff and how she's helping. But I don't think it gives a lot of detail about exactly what. I think this newsletter, this first newsletter that I have, is just a sort of the overview of what is Ibasho and how are they going to, what are the principles. So I'm happy to send you that. And in fact, there's 5 newsletters about Queenstown and that's where I got the information I shared with you. So I'm happy to share those also with Osnat if she wants to upload them.
Yeah. If you can send me the links, then we can join them to this.
Yeah, I don't have links. I have the PDFs, but I'll send you the PDF.
Okay, we can deal with that. I have a question for you, Kathryn and Cullen. You spent a lot of time today on Singapore, but there's also Korea. What's going to happen there?
Kathryn?
Oh, Cullen, thanks a lot. I know Korea less well because the tour is going to Seoul, and most of my experience and Cullen's experience in Korea has been in the city of Busan, which is in the south. But that was going to add too much cost, so we're focusing on Seoul. And I do know that they have like Seoul Care. So I have to do research, but I'm happy to present on Korea, but I'll need to do some more research. But one of the things I do know is they have something called Seoul Care, which does a similar assessment of elders to make sure that they get proper diagnosis, treatment, and linkages to services and so forth. And one of my former students, one of my graduates, is there working with Seoul Care to increase citizen participation, so elder participation in the planning and delivery of these services. So that's one thing. And I'm going to punt to Gabriel because he might know more of what's going to happen in Seoul.
Yeah, same here. I'm mostly familiar with Southern Korea, and due to the logistics, this had to occur in Seoul. Various initiatives that are going on in Seoul, and we need to pull that together. We do know that there are some exciting things, and perhaps at a later time we can share much more specific activities that is going on. Yeah.
So, and if I can join. So Korea will be the chance for the tour to explore a country organized maybe in a more traditional fashion than Singapore, right? Which is a city-state. And that is living one of the more dramatic shifts in demographics that we see in the world right now, while developing also economically across the last decades and technologically also. So I was very pleased with this first design by Cullen and APAC, coupling the two countries together, which made do a more challenging tour in terms of really spending a week in each of the countries. At the same time, it cannot be anything else than spectacular to see. They're closed anyway, and to see how a country is going from third world country, youth population. So with what it takes regarding not necessarily developing a whole network of nursing homes, such as in Europe, such a nursing home culture, for instance, and how is it dealing with the aging fast in a culture that is going to focus. So what we are seeing now, it's a lot of services developing on home care and how you can keep aging in place, very, very strong and drastic. So regional sports centers are really converting on not just offering sports in the normal sense, but also converting a prevention center. So prevention is really focused there, aging in place also. And what you're seeing a lot is this home care technology that will make, Korea cannot afford to just say, okay, so let's just develop a big network of nursing homes, for instance. No, so they are really pushed to the future. And another thing that I can say is I would like just to give a comment on the Queenstown neighborhood that I feel very glad to see this mixing of two trends that I see in terms of innovation and aging, which is green innovation, how nature can participate in the care and prevention, while also, of course, developing more sustainable practices in the field of healthcare and aged care, in order not to create the diseases and not to pollute the world we're living in, but how can we create more green environments, green home, and also the home-like approach to aged care. Even how can we retrofit institutions in order for them to be more in the sense of a home than of a hospital, which seemed to be a previous approach to how we deal with people losing their autonomy. So I see these trends coupling together almost by force in Singapore and South Korea.
I expect that there's going to be also a significant amount of time when there'll be discussions among those that are participating in this study tour among themselves, and as well as with those that are presenting there or places that we will be visiting. So a lot of interaction. And then this will also be a great opportunity for those that attend to start networking with other participants from all over the world that are also interested in creating these types of social change. So we hope that that will also be a great benefit as well.
This is a really good place to kind of wind down the next 5 minutes. And I'd like to invite, by raising hands, any of you who want to offer any insight that you took from today's really amazing presentation. Maybe just think about a headline rather than a lecture. So if you have any insights, why is it important to you personally to know that something like this is happening, or to join it, or to tell others about it, or what did you learn personally from that? Please do, headline style. Yes, Jackie. And then Michelle.
Okay, it was very, very interesting. And I think just hearing talks like that broadens our horizon, that to know just what's going on in other places. That's so important that in our everyday life, we're really not aware of these things that are so relevant and important, okay, to share them. Thank you.
And Michelle?
Yes, it was absolutely fantastic and inspirational presentation. For me, it fits in with the village to village movement, which is present throughout the US. And in fact, there was a local village to village movement that just started in my area, which I have supported, which is fantastic. Also brings to mind back probably at least 20 years ago now, there was a nursing home movement called Home Within a Home. It really hasn't gotten as much traction as I thought it would. But again, it was to make nursing homes feel like somebody's home. Some nursing homes do it better than others. But I'm involved in putting on a presentation upcoming called Aging Well at Home. So this is just fantastic information to be listening to and gathering. And I've already looked up the Ibashi principles online. It's fantastic. So this was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Richard and then Mary Jo.
Two quick comments. First of all, I think the connection to the village movement is accurate. Also to the age-friendly movement. I live in Santa Clara County, home of Silicon Valley, and we about 3 or 4 years ago went through a process where every one of the 15 cities within this county got officially recognized as age-friendly, and we network together. I think what's different and inspiring about what's happening, at least in Singapore, is that it's top-down. It's starting from the government and trying to coordinate activities, whereas here, I think a lot of both village to village and age-friendly stuff is sort of bottom-up. It's grassroots. So it strikes me it's kind of some of the things we're trying to do, but on steroids, with a level of support that goes well beyond what we've been able to mobilize here. And the second thing, and speaking of grassroots, I want to once again give credit to PION for spreading the word. This is such an invaluable resource for, I think, all of us to share what's going on elsewhere in the world, because we all have, our own focuses on our local areas and doing our local work. But I want to once again thank Jan and Moira and Osnat for just making this happen and giving us a platform for sharing these amazing and incredibly important ideas and activities. So thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, everybody. Mary Jo.
Well, Richard, I completely echo your thanks to the instigators, the initiators for the whole Pass It On network. It's interesting, in Minnesota, I've been part of an initiative, and what you said, Richard, top down, bottom up. What I was struck by, again, with what Kathryn said, is it was top down. And here in Minnesota, the Minnesota Board on Aging crafted an initiative asking our legislature to review how the state of Minnesota is working, planning. The key word was planning for older adults. This is a small initiative. It has passed both the House and the Senate. It looks like it will be funded. The initiative asks for a legislative task force, and it's got a group of people that have been identified that might be very influential and instrumental in putting a plan together. It's the first time I've seen an effort from the top down in Minnesota within government to address the demographic change that we are definitely experiencing. What's interesting about this is there's, unfortunately in the state, there's kind of a back and forth about whether or not this could be useful. But in the absence of anything else, it's a start. So when Kathryn talked about what's going on in Singapore, my biggest question is, how do you get the leadership to understand this should be a priority?
Let me just
mention very hopeful conversation. Thank you.
Let me just mention that California now has a master plan on aging. It was stimulated by the governor, and it's actually generating a considerable amount of activity and funding for activities that has really increased the pace. So it can happen. So I encourage you to pursue it there as well.
Okay, how do we fit 3 very engaging people in 7 minutes? So Bianca, you're going to be first, then Jen, then Sylvia, and then I'm going to pass it on to Moira to wrap up the formal part. Then we'll stay for another 15 minutes for anybody who has something else to say. So let's do that. And
yeah, so mine will be very brief. I just wanted to thank the 2 organizations that's making this opportunity possible. And I'm a lifelong learner of gerontology, and seeing something is way more better than just reading about it. So I'm just so thankful that everybody's putting their time and effort together to make this happen. And I'm so thankful, especially because I hopefully will join and then also get to bring another person from Mongolia, but then we get to learn from what other Asian countries are doing. That brings a lot of credibility when we go back to our country and say, Korea is doing it, Singapore is doing it, instead of saying, the already developed countries are doing it. So I'm so thankful for that. So thank you.
Thank you. Jen.
Hi, I just wanted to comment about Gabrielle. I wanted to make it clear that Pass It On Network has been working with Gabrielle for several years. And he was responsible, for example, for introducing us to Alex Kalachi, who is one of the founders of the World Health Organization of the age-friendly community process. But this is not just, along with working with Marie Carroll on retired people being able to travel around the world and stay with others who are welcoming. Gabrielle has been working with us before, and thank you so much for working with this, Gabrielle. He not only has been working with creating tours, but he also is personally very well connected with the gerontology around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Sylvia, and then Moira.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this. This was an amazing presentations. And, this top down, if like Singapore, it's amazing because it's thought from a place of opportunities and possibilities for older people. I didn't see so much there about the bottom up in that what they are doing there, which would be very valuable too. Some days ago, I learned more about Mexican Zapatistas, how they work in community, valuing individuals and communities. So that is top down and bottom up together. There would be a more powerful change for that, was Cullen said, innovative social cultural movements, because both of them have to go together. Individuals can be very creative, and we are. So thank you very much, Gabrielle, for bringing this. It's amazing. So I cannot go there, but I will be learning through what people share. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope I have been clear enough.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Sylvia. I'm going to pass it on to Moira. Pass it on. This is so catchy. We're going to have an organization song for that name. I'm going to pass it on to Moira to finish the formal part, and then we'll leave the microphones open for another 15 minutes for anything else.
Right. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat, which is okay. It's funny, in France, they say they've got a cat in their throat, not a frog. Well, first of all, just thank you to absolutely everybody around the screen. It's been so exciting to have somebody from Mongolia and from Iceland and from all over the place, from Hawaii. It really is. That is the excitement that we've always felt, Joan, haven't we? Just meeting everybody, getting different points of view. And to us, that is the essence of the Pass It On Network and ACAP as well. ACAP always underlines the fact that they're like a big family, and it's all based on friendship and building relationships. So we're very, very delighted to have you here. And Kathryn and Cullen, thank you so much for your presentations that were so well welcomed, and everybody's told you that. They were brilliant. Thank you. And then, Kathryn, I think we might just take you up on your offer to do some research on South Korea and do a second webinar on South Korea. So let's just take note of that, please. And I'd also just like to mention the fact that every month the Pass It On Network runs an open house sessions. So if anybody wants to know more about the Pass It On Network, they can go onto our website and click on the link there to register. They happen on the day after the Pass It On Network at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. Be careful of the time at this time of the year. And on a Wednesday morning, early in the morning for me, at 7 a.m. for me, which allows us to stretch out into the Asia Pacific area. So those were the things I wanted to mention. I have said that we will be reporting back from the United Nations Open-Ended Working Group. There'll be a delegation of the Pass It On Network of 4 people, Osnat, myself, Bruce Frankel, and Margaret Young. And we'll be meeting up with Himanshu Roth, who is from India and part of our Pass It On Network as well. And then I want to just ask you to do us a huge favor. Osnat has put into the chat a link for the questionnaire, satisfaction or suggestions. And it means a lot to us and helps us to steer the right direction. So if you could, just like immediately, just take 5 minutes to fill it in and send it back to us, we'd be most grateful to you. And now, as Osnat said, that is the end of the formal part of our session, and we're here to carry on the chat for you for another 15 minutes. Thank you once again.
If you want to stay. So if you feel like you have to go now, that's the time. And if you want to stay and share some more ideas, thoughts, insights, whatever, just pop in.
Yeah, that's great. Super duper. So that's so exciting. Jane Milano, Rosaline, welcome. I'm going to take this quick opportunity to call on Dean, who's our new intern. I hope he's still there and can turn his camera on. Dean, are you there? Up. Nope, seems that he's not. And David, are you there to say hello to us?
Hello.
Who's saying hello? Is that Dean?
It's Dean.
Oh, super, Dean, super. Can you put your camera on, or is that not convenient?
I have issues with my camera at the moment.
Okay, fine.
But I would just like to greet everyone and introduce myself. Yes, like what Maura has just said, I'm the new intern at Pass It On Network, and this being my new webinar, I've read everyone say all the contributions, and they were sounding very interesting. So I'm very interested in working around the issues to do with aging and ageism, and to be part and parcel of the Pass It On Global Pioneer Network. Looking forward to a very good learning experience as part of the Pass It On Network. So just greetings to everyone for the moment. Thank you very much, Moira.
Thanks, Dean. I might just mention that Dean has 2 masters, one from Zimbabwe on development, and the second one from Trinity College in the UK on international relations. So we're very pleased to have him with us, and welcome, Dean. We're going to make you work hard.
Looking forward to that.
Good.
Welcome,
Thanks a
welcome,
lot.
Dean.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. David, are you there?
Sure.
Say hello to us.
Let's
you very much.
let Peter say something. He's been holding his hand up so
Oh.
patiently. Yeah. What's up, Peter?
Thank you for those sessions. They are exciting. Having spent a little time in Asia and being a professor in gerontological nursing in Tokyo at the moment, I think it's a very important part of the world. Here's my comment. As I listened today, I think it's very good to be concerned about the rights and responsibilities and roles of older people in society. But I hope as these tours go on, you try to connect with other issues that are so important for the whole world. I'm a bit of a broken record around the climate crisis. How are older people going to adapt to that and contribute to addressing the challenges? And I did hear the word intergenerational quite a bit. I think that's very important too, because for me, the world of aging is moving more into the world of intergenerational, because we should be concerned about our future elders, even if they have a future, that is to say, our children. So thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Tom McCormick.
Yes, again, thank you. Very rich, stimulating, challenging. I'm going back to Cullen's chart, the 11 or more dimensions of active aging. And I'm wondering if there are focus groups, working groups that perhaps pick up one aspect or more, concerned about the integration, but able to and wanting to work together, for instance, on climate change and aging, or any of the particular kinds of concerns. Is there something afoot that would help bring us together and enable that kind of synergy?
I think what one could reply to that is that there are several groups, Elders for Climate Change, etc., and we could provide you with the link to that. And if you were interested, you could start a group within Pass It On Network. Is it something that you would like to start?
Perhaps. What would be the point of contact or the procedure to move ahead with that?
We could arrange a Zoom call between you, me, Osnat, and a couple of other people in the Pass It On Network and see what you have in mind and how it could be structured.
You know, one person who has done quite a bit of work in this area is Dr. Rick Moody in the U.S. I think he's in California right now. But he has a website that posts various sorts of things that is going on with regards to climate change, and he's directing his website information particularly towards older adults. So that might be a very important, I think, linkage to make. Yeah, with Rick Moody.
He also has a regular email newsletter on that topic.
Right. That's what I'm making reference to.
So, Osnat, we can maybe note that and put it in the notes.
Absolutely.
So Tom can do that. And then just Sheila's been wanting to talk for a while. Sheila, can you just unmute yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Sorry I came so late. I'm the director of the Legacy Film Festival on Aging. And we just finished our 11th annual second virtual film festival. And I would love to send all of you information about the fest, but you can also go to our website, Legacy Film Festival on Aging. I'm in San Francisco. This year we showed maybe 25 films on various aspects of aging. What was disappointing to me was we only got over 300 people who came to see the fest. The survey that we did after said they loved it. But this group would be wonderful to be able to send word out and to see the wonderful films. What happened was we showed it in January for 2 weeks. Then people said, we want to see more of the film, so we extended it. Maybe I could extend it again, but I would have to ask the filmmakers or pay them so that they wouldn't be losing out. But please do go to our website. This is so perfect. And I just want to say one other thing. I belong to a group of older women, small group. All of them are single. All of them are feeling isolated. This is a problem. If people are going to be living in their own homes, even though we're doing virtual things and technical things and Zooms and so forth, I think this is one of the major problems that we need to address. Should these people go into a retirement home, maybe they can't afford it. Anyway, I'm not going to bring up too many issues right now because it's late, but I would love you all to see the films that we've shown on every subject in aging you can think about. So I think this would be a great group to get involved with me on. Thank you.
Sheila, would you like to type your your website address into the chat for us?
Yes, we'll do that.
Super, thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you very much. Now, is there anyone else, Osnet?
I'm not seeing any digital hands, but maybe you have some physical hands that you'd like to wave widely. If you have one last thought to share with us. If not, this is okay too. There's Verna. Yeah, go ahead.
You muted, Verna. Just unmute yourself. Thanks. There we go.
I apologize. I came in a little late today too, but oh, this was wonderful. We are a resident-directed community in Denver, and we have something called, you were talking about a focus group, we have something called the Imagination Lab, and very quickly residents simply bring up issues of concern or directions that they want to move in. And this year, we do brainstorming, then problem solving, and break into groups of residents who want to research and investigate areas. This year, the very strong movement was towards the whole nature health connection. And so today I got some wonderful ideas on how it's being done in Singapore. So I just think it's a universal urge now to move in that direction. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Verna.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make a point. Apparently, a number of people joined us late because of the time change. So I just wanted to stress the fact that there will be notes highlighting what has been said today, and the presentations that were done will also be sent out. So everybody who's registered will get those two big packets of information.
Yeah, and it will take a couple of days to put it together, as you can imagine. But right now we are pretty much at the end of our promised extra time, overtime. Everybody seems to be a winner. And we're going to close off the session now. And our next one, very important to all of you who are watching, the next one is going to be on the 17th of April, not on the 10th. because on the 10th, some of us are still going to be traveling back from New York. So register for the 17th of April, same time, same place. And we will bring you up to date on all the exciting stuff that has been happening in the last 6 weeks.
Right.
So between today and 17th of April. And looking forward to seeing you.
That's super. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.